are live. Welcome to the RG Dfs Tournament Takes podcast. I couldn't believe I saw a snowman just run across here, but it's Noto looking all festive. Week 16 edition Tournament Takes podcast. What's up, fellas? Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy Seven Fishes, Bobby. I know it's a big holiday for you and your family. It's exciting. Christmas is the best. It's all about the kids. All three of us have kids. So, what's going on? How we doing? Noto.
Yeah, doing good.
I'm skipping the intros this week. I don't have to tell your tweet.
Got my Draftkings ugly sweater, circa 2021, I think. Got my house all festive, as you can see. It's real. Merry Christmas, everyone. Enjoy your Saturday slate, Sunday slate, Monday slate. It's awesome from a DFS perspective, man. This content, it's been a grind the last few days. How are you guys doing?
Grind City. NBA is the worst for content.
Yeah, just checking Meansy's message. Meansy just sent me a message. For me, it's been good. Excited for Christmas Eve, my favorite holiday of the year. Sorry to cut you off, Kirkwood.
No, I cut you off.
Oh, did you? Yeah, I know. I was doing two things at once. I was half paying attention. But yeah, I still have to get some gifts maybe before I go home, which is probably, I do it late. So yeah, we're cutting it close here, I would say.
So I got lucky on the gift front because my parents, we had a pre-Christmas last week because my parents go to my sister's house. And so all of us go there who aren't going. And they got me a PS5 for Christmas. So then my girl, what she wants for Christmas, she wanted the virtual reality for the PS5. So I was like, it's so sweet. I ordered that immediately. So that's kind of like a gift for me as well as a gift for her. So I was excited about that. No bag, no purse, no jewelry, no nothing. I didn't have to deal with any of that stuff.
Should I get a PlayStation? All my friends play. I don't really play that much, but I feel like everyone.
I buy every video game system and I never use them.
Interesting.
It's because it's the kid in me. I was like such a gamer that I feel like I have to have it, and I get all excited when they're getting released. I've had an Xbox. I had the new Xbox for like 2 years or whatever when it came out. I rarely ever even dust it off and play it.
Is PlayStation 5 a new system?
A couple years ago.
Interesting. Yeah.
A year ago. It was like the hardest gift to get, like last year or the year before, was it? I don't know.
I might end up getting something. I need to get a system just to keep myself busy during the day. I'm not doing DFS.
The problem is we gamble on sports 24 hours a day. So it's like we never really have time. Like sports never quits. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. 100%. Yeah, that's why I feel like I'd never use it.
What'd you get the little man, Noto?
Yeah, he's getting some Switch games, a new tablet, some Pokemon stuff. He just likes a little bit of everything, so he's tough to shop for. But that is one thing I miss about being married, is just having her buy all the presents for my family and sisters and nephews and nieces. Doing it by yourself, man, it's a grind too. So I'm over here struggling, but 2 days till Christmas. And video games, I think I bought a PS4 a few years ago, maybe played it once. So yeah, I don't know.
It's like the idea. It just brings you back to like being a kid, and then it's like, okay.
See, I'll play with my little man. We'll play like Mario and stuff on the Switch. That's a lot of fun, but don't really play just solo.
I want the new Mario Wonder game, whatever.
That's a good one.
Yeah, because it's like the old school gameplay, right? Like the straight up.
Yeah, you can turn into like different animals and stuff.
Nice. Well, hopefully you guys can buy all these systems with the money that we make off of these slates. So what do we got here? We got a nice 2-game appetizer tonight, which we're not going to talk about. Then we've got a nice 9-gamer, that the main slate we will talk about. Then we got 3 games on Christmas Day and a NBA slate. NBA usually reigns supreme, but now the NFL is in our lives, so I'm expecting a lot of action over these next couple of days. So let's this slate is going to be very pivotal. So let's nail this slate. And this slate is kind of weird already, right? Like, so just like going through it, and there's not much at the quarterback. There's like one quarterback I like. Everyone else, it's like you're just trying to like, oh, okay, maybe. You know, we don't have really many of the big names. We've got Dak, we've got Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, I guess then Kyler Murray from like a big name perspective, and then we're going to be talking about Nick Mullins chalk, things like that. Tyler Heineke, Bobby Betts is probably going to be on Gardner Minshew, maybe a little bit. Maybe Noto will be too.
Did you hit your bet last week?
No, I did not. We're not on the path of Alex Caruso at this point, so we will not have 200K followers on Twitter. We're 3-1.
Oh yeah, I saw. Who is that guy?
I have no
He
at 200K followers. He's just in my feed. He was fading Embiid. I was heavy on Embiid too. I was happy about that.
It's time for us to get more followers. The only time I pick up followers now is when I do fake DK crown tweets, send them out, and everyone believes it, thinks I won. So
congrats on the vacation.
Yeah, just picked up. I picked up 500,000 every week crown. Then I got the 5 million. Then I rolled that into the vacation. It's really been just like a test to like see how long can people actually believe this. Or anyways, all right, let's talk about this slate. So big picture overview. How's it looking to you, Noto?
I mean, Rachaad White's the most expensive running back on the slate. So that kind of tells you what we're looking at this week. A lot of the good running backs, a lot of the good quarterbacks, like you mentioned, aren't going to be on this slate. Not a lot of games that I necessarily love. You know, we have one with a 50.5 point total. Everything else is in the 30s and 40s. But yeah, I think there's some games we can stack, some pass-heavy games at least. On the injury front, looks like we're still waiting on Lawrence. He did practice, but he hasn't cleared concussion protocol. Also waiting on Will Levis. Not that we're going to be playing him or Tannehill, but he's questionable. Then at the running back position, Madison's probably the big one there. Ty Chandler looks like he's going to be pretty chalky if Madison's out. If he's active, he probably becomes more interesting for me. Chandler, that is. And then Tyreek Hill is questionable. Nico Collins is questionable. Jaden Reed is questionable. So definitely have some injuries to monitor over the next 24 hours.
I think is Wicks still questionable too?
I didn't scroll that far down. Yeah, Wicks is questionable. Watson's doubtful.
Yeah, just that Green Bay situation is interesting. If Reed is out, then Wicks obviously becomes massive chalk at 4,300. But if he's out, then what happens?
They got that. Can't remember his name. But yeah.
Woo! Bobby, how's it looking to you?
Busy time.
Yeah, man. Salute to you. You guys have actually we all have content to do on Christmas Day, so I know we're all looking forward to that, the three of us. But it's a grind. You know, we've got a lot to fit in these next few days. Sorry, Bobby.
The two dome games, Detroit, Minnesota, Indy, Atlanta. I think I'll be looking at those games for the majority of my exposure. The slate isn't the greatest, right? Dallas, Miami will be a good game later on in the slate, but Tyreek's up in the air, so that news is going to be important. Chicago, Arizona is another game I think I'd like to target a little bit. Yeah, that's pretty much. Those are pretty much the games that I have like the most interest in. Guess you could make a case for some of these Cleveland guys. I don't know if you guys are interested in playing Joe Flacco this week, but he should be throwing the ball a good bit. And obviously, quarterback's a train wreck. So yeah, I'm ready to talk the slate with you guys.
I've been throwing in Wongs left and right. I'll tell you that, and I'll tell you, I got a big position on the Steelers today with the Wong points. So that I got them tied. I got them tied to like everybody. So they better come through for us. But all right, like you guys were mentioning, so from a total perspective, we've got the highest total is Dallas Miami, close competitive game, two good actual teams with real playoff implications in this game and a 49.5 point total. The next is Detroit Lions at Minnesota with a 47 point total. Then Indy at Atlanta with a 45.5 point total. And then we start getting down to Arizona at Chicago, 43 point total. Jacksonville at Tampa, 42. So really there's only two games 47 or above from a total standpoint. Blitz most plays has Indy and Atlanta leading the way, Cleveland, Houston, Dallas, Miami, and Detroit, Minnesota. So then you go over to Thorman's snaps and paste: Dallas, Miami, Indy, Atlanta, Cleveland, Houston, Jacksonville, Tampa, and Detroit, Minnesota. So those are the key spots. So really, they're pretty much in agreement there. Cardi didn't have Jackson, Tampa Bay with that many plays, but we certainly know both teams are very susceptible in their pass defense. So this game could be a shootout, sneaky shootout. Would be a much sneakier shootout on any other slate, but because people are going to recognize it on this one with not that many good games here. But let's do what we always do: start at the running back position, head over to quarterback, align that with our wide receivers for our stacks, talk about some tight ends. Bobby or Noto is going to give their defensive takes. I don't know how Bobby's feeling this week, but he does look kind of energized, so I think he might have some D's up his sleeve. And then we'll get on out of here with our favorite stacks. Maybe we'll throw some long teasers, and I don't know. Let's get a little crazy. All right, running back position. Ty Chandler looked absolutely electric in his first real lead back situation guy. 23 carries, 132 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 targets, 3 receptions. Looked great in all areas. Looked explosive. Looked everything that we wanted Madison to be all season. He was it. So I don't see them going back. And there's also the chance that Madison is going to be out again this week. But even if he's in, I think Ty Chandler has earned the lead back role. But we'll see, and I'll hear your guys' thoughts on that. But he's going to probably be the chalkiest. Breece Hall, who I played last week, unfortunately, to my demise, got a nice 2.8 fantasy points in a matchup where I thought they were going to just lean on him. And I thought the Jets would be a lot more competitive with Miami. I thought their D would be better, but they weren't. Anyways, they're playing Washington this week, and Breece Hall does do well. Every game that he has a big game is a game that they're kind of front running, right? So he had a big game against Houston when they just kind of handled the, was up all game. They won 30-6. He had a big game against Philly and Denver, which they all wins, against the Giants in a win. So in a game that they're projected to win, he seems to do pretty well. And this is a game against Washington that they are definitely projected to win. Rachaad White, the most expensive running back on the slate, has actually earned it, has a sick floor. I mean, if you just look back at all his games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last 9 games, it's just a beautiful looking box score. 15 is like the low fantasy points and up to around 28. And gets a good matchup against Jacksonville. Bijan's in play. Devin Singletary's in play. Chuba's in play. Jonathan Taylor's back in our lives. And Moss may be out again. I like Taylor a lot this week against Atlanta. Aaron Jones. Kenneth Walker looked like a beast. I know he's questionable, but I think he's going to play. But anyway, those are the guys. And we're also might get some cheaper plays like Antonio Gibson again because Brian Robinson is out. Derrick Henry killed me last week, but where are you going, Noto? What looks good to you?
Yeah, I love Rachaad White at the very top. So Jacksonville pretty tough against the run, but they've allowed the 3rd most receiving yards to running backs this year. So I think it's going to be a good spot for him. Like you mentioned, really high floor. He always seems to get it done, whether it's on the ground or through the air or through scoring touchdowns. And then I like Chuba Hubbard. So the Panthers, most teams don't have anything to play for at this point of the season if they're not in playoff contention. But the Panthers, worst case scenario for them would be getting the worst record because they don't have their first-round draft picks. So they're going to do everything they can to win a game or two here in the next 3 weeks. And Chuba's touch count, 24, 24, and 25 the last 3 weeks. Green Bay, one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. He's only 5,300, something like that, 5,700. So I think he's probably a nice pivot off of Chandler. I don't know what I'm going to do with Chandler. I mean, Detroit top 5 run defense, number 1 fantasy points allowed to running backs. And I've fallen for so many chalky running backs in bad matchups. I think I played Zach Moss 3 times in a row and he failed. Played Zeke last week in a tough matchup. He failed. So I don't know what I'm going to do with Chandler. Are you guys playing him?
I really like the Chuba Hubbard call for 100 more as a pivot and a third of the ownership off Chandler. Like that's, and especially versus Green Bay, like you gave all the stats. I think Hubbard is a very, very good pivot off of Chandler. I wouldn't fully fade Chandler, but in 150, I think, and maybe in single entry you could and get to Hubbard. I don't know. I for one thing, think there's just the way running backs kind of set up in terms of pricing. Like we have Jonathan Taylor. He's at 7,200. You mentioned Rachaad White. He's at 74. Devin A-Chain, who's getting no ownership. I think this is the A-Chain week, 7,100. I think he's someone that you mentioned like playing Zach Moss. Now you're getting Taylor for 2K more. Just as much of ownership. Like I'd rather like these 2 chalk running backs, I could see myself getting away from and kind of playing these in-between guys. A-Chan, Hubbard. I like Bijan regardless. A guy Kirky was on last week, Aaron Jones at 12%. Kirk was like ahead of it on Aaron. Aaron Jones might be my favorite running back on the slate, just in general.
Just gonna tell you a little secret. I say Aaron Jones every week, so I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be ahead of it sometimes and behind it.
This is a good spot, though. That's a good spot.
It's a good spot, and he got 18 touches. Like
all
he's at 6,400, right above Bijan. Yeah, and Carolina's been better against the run of late. So I don't know if you want the pivot there. I guess that's viable. I think I'm going to be under on a lot of these chalkier running backs and getting to some of these guys that are priced right around them, a la Aaron Jones, Devin A-Chain, Chuba Hubbard, and larger field stuff for sure.
Yeah, some food for thought with Ty Chandler. As you know, if you look at Noto's first look that he gives all the stats out for, you will see very clearly that Detroit is very good against the run and bad against the pass. They're 4th in rushing DVOA. They're 1st in running back DVP. They allow the least fantasy points per game to running backfields at only 16.8 DK points per game. So this is a situation where this, you're betting on volume, but it's also there's some question marks there with Madison, right? We don't truly know what kind of a split they're going to get if he does play. And then you're in the absolute worst matchup and he's chalk. So this kind of sets up to be a good fade, I would think. So and you guys know me, I love Chuba. I just think he's good. So and great matchup for him. So I definitely like that pivot there. What are your guys' thoughts on Singletary?
I don't know. I just don't trust that offense. Cleveland, very good run defense as well. And I mean, I know he's got to take him back over the RB1 role, but 2 weeks ago was Pierce. So I don't really know if we can count on him being the true feature back. But yeah, Bobby, do you have any stronger takes?
He's getting more targets than he was with Stroud. So I think that's like a plus to him. I think I'm probably higher on him than you are at 5.5. Like I think I could definitely play him in this. Well, yeah. I don't know. If you're trying to get away from Chandler, I would prefer Chuba, but I think he's a closer second than I think he's kind of currently being he's getting 15% ownership. So it's actually showing him as the second, him as the direct pivot where I think it would be Chuba. I don't know. I prefer Chuba to Singletary if I had to choose in a vacuum.
You know who's in a good matchup? Derrick Henry, 16 carries for 9 yards last week. Do you think Chop could have done better than 0.5 yards per carry last week?
Interesting. I think Chop could have gone neck and neck with Henry last week, actually, and would have provided some nice salary discount in that situation. I played some Henry, unfortunately. So yeah. It was quite depressing. But there was the chalk on the college football slate. What was it? Or last week that he literally got 0 yards on 21 carries or something like that. Did you see that?
No.
He was the most expensive running back on the college football slate. He had a bunch of negative carries because you're like 21 carries, 0 rush. Like, how is that even possible? Yeah.
He Tony Snelled as a running back in NFL.
Yeah. Yes, sir. All right. Aaron Jones, I like. Great matchup. Kenneth Walker looked really good. I don't, Tennessee, run. And I get that they're good against the run and easy against the pass, but so is Philadelphia. And Pete Carroll loves he loves two things in life. He loves to chomp on some gum and give running back carries, right? Like that's Pete Carroll
in the Super Bowl on the 1 yard line.
Long time ago. I think that's what's
learned his lesson.
That's why he's so pro run at all times now. Yeah. Great memory that was, actually. But
I was on the 1 yard line out in Arizona that year. I was saying,
could Chop have run that in?
Yes, he could have. For sure. They were letting I feel like they were going to let him score if they decided to run it.
I mean, yeah, the game was over. It was crazy. All right. What about in the big Miami Dallas game, if either of these teams turn to the run with A-Chain, Mostert, or Pollard? I mean, big total, competitive game.
I mean, we saw, Buffalo run all over Dallas last week, kind of gave a blueprint for Miami on what to do here. So, yeah, I like the A-Chain call. Bobby brought him up. I think he's probably my preferred of those three. But, man, Pollard is eventually going to have a good game, I think. I just wish he was cheaper. He's not priced down at all.
Yeah, I think we look pretty good on our James Cook, all of us agreeing that he was, much better than people thought a few weeks ago. I think that's coming to fruition. Man, and you guys, I hit the bill. I got some Bills futures at 30-1.
Pollard is running harder for what it's worth from the eye test, I think.
Yeah, I've got Bills to make the playoffs, to win the division, and to win the AFC. So
let's go. Looking good right now. Did we talk about Bijan? Did I miss your guys' thoughts on it?
Bobby brought him up. I like him too. Just Arthur Smith, man. I think Bijan had 7 carries last week.
Crazy.
So frustrating.
And now he just got fined. Arthur Smith just got the fine for back when they didn't reveal his illness. Yeah.
I think they're better with Heineke though, so I think that helps Bijan a little bit.
The league.
Is that a bad take?
I don't really know. I mean, how good? I don't know. I'll hope this week that they aren't. I'm not a big Heineke guy, but we'll get to that in a second. But I certainly need the Colts I got a lot of Wongs with the Colts, so I need the Colts. I also bet the Colts too. Anyway, already, mine hasn't really moved at all either way. They fined Artie $25K. And the team $75K for not listing Robinson on that week's injury when everyone was mad. Like he got tiny bit of fourth quarter run, I think it was, or something.
Yeah, one carry.
One carry, 0.3 fantasy points against Tampa. He was chalk for sure. He was chalk that week. All right, let's move it on over to QB. This is what's going to shape your lineups, right? Personally, I'm just calling it. I'm playing smaller field, high dollar stuff on DraftKings, and I'm gonna play Justin Fields. I know he's gonna get steamed and be even higher than what I'm expecting. I'm looking at 20% ownership across the industry. I think in the smaller high dollar stuff, it'll be more than that. Nick Mullins is going to be the next chalkiest guy, or might be the fully most chalky guy. I don't know. His game looked a little better with overtime. He's got elite weapons, and it's a good spot for, like we talked about, it's a tough spot to run on Detroit, but they're very susceptible to the pass. And that's the thing, is he's got Addison, Justin Jefferson, and he's got Hawkinson. So he's got elite weapons to use, but I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts on how you're approaching him. I don't know what I'm doing at this point. I kind of like Geno Smith better in a big game against Tennessee for the Seattle, but we did talk about that. Pete Carroll loves to just run, and Geno is banged up, but he is off the injury report this week, so all systems go. Even after that crazy reporting going on for last week's game about whether he was going to play or not. And then Bobby likes Joey Flacco, and I get it because the guy is 44, 45, and 44 passing attempts since he's taken over. So the guy is chucking it. And against Jacksonville, that should be a competitive against Houston without Stroud. So Flacco is the best quarterback in that game. And then there's Baker Mayfield, there's Gardner, there's Murray. It's just gross, right? Like maybe Trevor Lawrence, but he's injured and he's coming off the concussion. I think he'll get through protocol, but we have to wait and see. But all indications seems like he's going to be playing. The line has moved towards Jacksonville. It seems like Dak is going to be lower owned at 7,900, and that's just because of pricing. It's just harder to fit him in, especially, and then you want to fit CeeDee Lamb, and then you got, if you really want to do it, you want to try to get Tyreek as a run back, and then your lineup is absolute crap from there on. But maybe that's a viable way this week. I don't know. Noto, give me some clarity.
Yeah, with you, just playing a bunch of Justin Fields. I don't care if he's going to be popular. All these quarterbacks are terrible. I'll play some Justin Jefferson, but I don't want to play chalky Nick Mullins. Heineke's up there. Geno dealing with that groin injury. I don't trust that. So, yeah, for me, I'm just going to be way overweight on Fields. I know he's going to be really popular in small field stuff, but I don't mind that. I can get different elsewhere by fading Chandler and some of the other chalky plays at other positions. But I do like Flacco. You mentioned the 44, 44, and 45 passing attempts. I really like that. The spot kind of sets up well for the passing game, too. We don't have to worry about weather in that one with it being indoors in Houston. So it's all Fields and all Flacco for me at quarterback.
I've got one more, Trevor Lawrence. Just because it's a condensed target share, with the injuries, with the people out. So it's like just easy to build your stack with Ingram or Calvin Ridley, and then you can get down if Zay Jones is out again. What is it? What's his name? Parker or
Parker Washington.
Yeah, 3,800. That could provide some salary relief. You can run it back with Rachaad White or go again to the passing game. But we know the answer is not to run on Tampa. The answer is to pass on Tampa, and it seems like he's Lawrence on a week where he's going to be unowned, and really there's no really good options besides Justin Fields. Seems like a pretty good tournament play to me. But Bobby, what are you thinking?
Yeah, so definitely going to be over on Fields and smaller field stuff. I think we all have the same take there. Nick Mullins, like there's a case if he's going to be popular in larger field stuff, that's just a complete X to me. I would play Flacco. I think Trevor Simeon's in play versus Washington. I know that sounds terrible and gross, but it's the type of slate that it is for larger field stuff. So I think you can make a case for him. Don't mind Garrett Wilson there as well. Like that stack in general. No one's going to play it. Very good matchup. If Simeon is right, he's had a full week of practice. I think he'll be fine. I also think he's probably the best Jets quarterback. And he's been fine before. Like we've seen him in New Orleans last year. He was serviceable. So don't hate that at 4,700 in the context of the slate. Geno Smith, I like him versus Tennessee. Tennessee cannot cover anyone. I don't think Seattle will have to run as much. It would be kind of foolish for them to run here. So like the weapons, Lockett, Metcalf with Geno. I think it makes for a good stack there. Joe Flacco, for all the reasons that Kirk gave. He's just throwing the ball at a very high clip. He's 5'5", 200 more than Mullins. Like easy to just play Flacco over Mullins in that scenario. I like the call on Lawrence. We have the upside versus the Tampa pass funnel. Lawrence really, to me, doesn't have much of a ceiling. But on this slate, he does. Like, there's not a ton of quarterbacks that I think can really compete with him. So if he's going to get If he's going to be someone that isn't going to be played, then yeah, I have no issue playing Lawrence. And yeah, that would round out my quarterback pool. I think Heineke is in play. Like the weapon, they seem to have more of a willingness to pass in Atlanta. And like Drake London has shown a lot better home splits. I know it's with Ritter. But yeah, I don't know. In larger field stuff, I think Heineke London's fine if you come in with that as a stack. So yeah, that's pretty much quarterback.
Yep. Drake the Snake looking good again. He's going to be chalk at wide receiver. Yeah, it's gross on where I think I'm selling myself on Lawrence and just like hope he looked fine to me last week. And the concussion is just, he should be fine there too if he completes protocol.
How does that dude never miss a game?
Jesus, he's a big Jesus guy. So hey, maybe he's got someone looking out for him up there.
Maybe I need to start praying, I guess.
Yeah, I think we all three of us probably should. Bobby, you pray? Bobby's a big prayer guy.
I'm a prayer guy. I'm a Jesus guy. Yep. Catholic schoolboy. So, I'm the fish.
All right. Wide receiver. Justin Jefferson has a reduced price because he hasn't had Kirk Cousins. Did have 10 targets, 7 receptions, 84 against Cincy. Last week, he is going to be chalky on pretty much all sites. Garrett Wilson looks like he's getting some love. I like that just because of the price range, that mid-tier upside against Washington's pass D. If anyone's going off, it's probably him. DJ Moore is priced up now, so it's more interesting, but 6,900. I mean, he's earned it. You're looking at targets, since week 10, he's had at least 8 in every game. He's had some big games with Fields here. They're locked in, a good connection. I like this matchup against Arizona, so I'm on board there. CeeDee Lamb is, it's just interesting. I'm gonna go back and try to make more higher end Dak CD and higher end Tua to Tyreek stacks and see what I can come up with, because they just seem under-owned for the slate that we have this week because it's tough to play them. So figuring out a potential way to get these guys probably makes a lot of sense, because the cheaper guys that are going to be chalky are Jonathan Mingo again, who's just bad at football. Drake London, who he has a bad quarterback, but I think I would rather play Drake over Mingo, even at the price increase of 1,500 more for sure. Calvin Ridley is super inexpensive for a wide receiver 1 against Tampa Bay. He looks like a lock to me personally. I'm liking this Lawrence, Calvin Ridley, and probably Evan Ingram double stack more and more every time I'm looking at it. Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be a lot less owned than Justin Jefferson for around the same price in a good dome game. And then we're going to have guys like Lockett, like DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith, JSN, who I'll play. I don't know. And then the guys like that are going really under-owned, I think, are like Mike Evans. Tyreek is going to be very low owned because he's 9,600 coming off of the injury scare, and just hard to make lineups work with him. But I don't know, Noto, what do you like?
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of the guys that I'm on. Love Jefferson. Detroit's biggest weakness is giving up big plays in the passing game. I like Calvin Ridley, as you mentioned. No Kirk, likely no Zay Jones. Pass funnel matchup there against the Buccaneers. I think it's a really good spot for Amari Cooper at lower ownership. We've seen David Njoku kind of go nuts the last couple of weeks, but the targets have been there for Amari. DJ Moore, he's an easy click if you're playing Fields. But if you are playing that stack, I would definitely look to differentiate your lineup elsewhere. I think everybody that plays Fields is probably going to be clicking on Moore as well. So just keep that in mind when you're building that stack. Garrett Wilson's in a great spot. Love him. Washington, by far the worst pass defense in the NFL. And then I'll play some Amon-Ra St. Brown. I kind of like building skinny stacks with him and Jefferson as a way to get a little different at the receiver position. You brought up London. I think he's in a pretty good spot as well. Yeah, well, I'll throw it over to Bobby.
Yeah, Kirk, I like the Ridley call at 6'3". I wonder if he does get steamed up, but I don't think he will. Another play I like is Jordan Addison at 6K. Like, same thing as we saw last week. Everyone kind of forced Jefferson, and Addison was the guy you needed, so I don't mind him. Michael Pittman's been very good at 7.4. He's going to see some low ownership. Are we going to get Tyreek low owned at 9.6? Like, I feel like we will.
Yes.
And I feel like that's something you have to get over, especially in larger field stuff. The guy I don't –
how many yards does he need to average? Sorry, to break the 2K.
I'm not sure. I haven't been paying attention. I know he's chasing it, but I don't know what he needs exactly. I still like him. Like, I feel like he'll play. I feel like he could have played last week. Like, there was a report that he was dancing on the sidelines and stuff like that. So I feel like he's more in play.
He needs to average 152 to get there. So I like it.
Yeah, if he's going to be low owned, just get double that. Metcalf, I think, versus Tennessee is a very strong play. DJ Moore, I like him and Fields. He's obviously the first read target. So yeah, I don't mind him. The one I want to get away from is Jefferson. Like, I don't know. Jefferson's a great play and all, but there's guys that I don't know if in that range that can necessarily beat him, but I wouldn't mind paying down to like a DJ Moore, a Cooper, a Mike Evans to try to be different and not play chalky Jefferson, because can we trust Nick Mullins? Like, that's what I'm worried about.
So that's the thing, right? So we've talked about this game. We want to fade Chandler, right?
Yeah.
We want to be on the underweight side of Chandler at least. We want to fade Jefferson, and we want to fade Mullins. So what? I mean, I guess we're gonna have to play Jordan Addison.
We're gonna bet the Lions.
Jordan Addison and Hawkinson. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the one thing about that is, like, I think Jefferson's target share dramatically reduces Hawkinson's, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know. There's the Minnesota chalk. It seems like it's a little bit shaky. I would just say that. CD Lamb 9-2, phenomenal play. Let me down last week versus the Bills, but I don't mind going right back. Yeah, we're hitting on everyone. So I'm just talking about from like a GTO perspective where we could go.
I got smashed on. I got wrecked on Yahoo last week. I did the fancy play of so I won the week before with Rashee Rice ahead of everybody, and then I decided to fade him last week and go up a little bit for DeAndre Hopkins, and that did not work. Crash and fail.
I think in that scenario you just stay on because you were already there the week before, you know. So.
Yeah, I tried to get away then. You know what I mean? I tried to get it first.
Yeah.
It's fancy play syndrome. I do it too much.
Any punts you guys like this week, wide receiver?
Let's see here.
I've got one.
Let's hear it.
Jameson Williams, 3,700. Minnesota allowed the 10th most fantasy points to wide receivers, and he's kind of taken over as a wide receiver 2 role. He's playing more snaps, running more routes than Reynolds, so I think he's interesting.
I think that's the best one, to be perfectly honest. Like, they play a ton of cover 0, so just benefits a burner. Yeah, I like the Williams call. I think he'd probably be my favorite. Parker Washington's there at 3.8 if Zay sits.
What about Michael Wilson without Marquise?
I like him too, but I think I like Williams better.
George is probably going to be out too. Is that right?
Let's see. Yeah, questionable return to practice on a limited basis on Friday. So
okay. So questionable. I like JSN as for my favorite, like, cheaper guy, but I'm sure that everyone else is probably going to like him as well. I just think he's really good at football and has a big upside. I've been talking about him probably since the first couple of weeks of the podcast when he was doing absolutely nothing. But, like, he's definitely breaking out, has the momentum after that big catch in the last one, and he's up to like an 18% target share now. So he's my favorite semi-cheap guy. I know everyone's going to go to Wicks. if he plays, especially if Jaden Reed is out. If Jaden Reed is out, is he a lock? Do we just have to play Wicks?
I'm just going to jam more Jones.
And also their tight end, Kraft or whatever.
Musgrave is out. I don't think Kraft is injured. Yeah, Kraft's fine.
Yeah, Musgrave. No, I'm saying I like Kraft. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I told everyone to play him over Chig last week. Chig still hasn't gotten double-digit fantasy points this year.
Yeah, why is Chig chalk every week?
He is terrible. I can't play him. 3-1.
Yeah, I know. He's going to be chalk again. He's going to be over 10%. Yeah, just give me Kraft over him all day, even at 600 more. Give me Kate Otten over him, probably.
That's why I got tagged.
Yeah, so, and I don't have any. I'm not playing Mingo. I won't play Mingo. I don't know if any other cheap guys, if you got more, but JMO, I like that JMO call.
He should be a stud too eventually, right? Like, I know they were worried about him early on, but he seems to be coming around.
And Curtis Samuel, the guy who just keeps producing every week that nobody plays and is cheap. It's not
you
super
guys brought
cheap
him up last week. That was a good call.
All right, let's take it on over to tight end. All right, here we go. This is a guy that I like end up fading too much. Trey McBride. I mean, the guy is like he wears 87, right? Is that any guy who wears 87? That's his number?
I don't know. I kept getting confused with him and Ertz early in the season. I thought Ertz was 87. Yeah, McBride's 85.
85. Okay, close to 87. Anyway, he's just a ridiculous. He's like a wide receiver one. So Scott Barrett put out a tweet where, since week 8, he's had 9.1 targets per game, 28.3% target share, which is a wide receiver 6, 77.4 yards per game, and averaging 17.2 DK fantasy points per game since week 8. So he's still underpriced here at his price tag of $5,700. The thing is that he's rarely found the end zone. He found the end zone in week 8 for a touchdown, and he got in the end zone in week 13 against Pitt. So if he continues on the way he's doing, and he has one of those touchdown breakout games where he gets at least one, but if let's say he gets 2 tutties, he's going to absolutely nuke the slate. So he's chalk, but I'm still on board. I like him. I always like Cole Kmet in the reverse role. I love Evan Ingram. It's a great matchup, and if you look, let me see here. I had it pulled up, but Tampa Bay against tight ends is a really strong matchup. They've given up 5 touchdowns to the tight end position on the season. They're they're top 6 in fantasy points per game allowed. So, bottom 6 really is what that means. 6th most fantasy points per game allowed. So I like him. I mentioned I liked Kraft, but Ingram is probably going to be my number 1 just to get off a little bit of McBride. But I'll play McBride. I would be fine on a slate like this playing double tight end with like Ingram and McBride because they're both really strong individual plays. I think I'm all set with Chig. No, thank you. Jake Ferguson, I like. And Kraft and Otten are my cheapies. Someone like Laporta is going to go unowned, but I don't know. What are you thinking, Noto?
Yeah, you make a great case for McBride, and just a couple more points. They are underdogs on the road. The weather's going to be good, and Chicago's allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to tight end. So it kind of just sets up perfectly for McBride. I like Ingram quite a bit, as you mentioned. Then I like the other tight end in that game, Kate Otten. And we've talked about Baker being in a good spot, but we didn't even mention Mike Evans or Godwin really. So I think Otten's kind of the cheap way to get exposure to the Bucks in that game. Outside of that, don't love a lot.
I did miss one. Bobby probably likes him. Njoku.
Yeah, I like Njoku just with the volume he's seeing, especially from Flacco. Like we've seen it. I definitely think he's very much in play. I would prefer McBride and just getting over on McBride, though. I think McBride with the target share. I know Njoku's getting targets as well. I just think McBride's the better player. I know that's tough to say after the weeks Njoku's had, but I really like Trey McBride. Don't mind playing him in an ownership. I don't mind paying the 6-4 for Laporta. I think that'll be differentiated in that game. I think people will go to Hawkinson. They'll go to all these Minnesota guys. They'll go to Amon-Ra. I like Laporta. Like we've seen the ceiling constantly. So he's someone I'm interested in. Dalton Schultz is someone we haven't touched on, 4,600. Down a lot of weapons, this team. So for me, like Schultz at that price tag, if people are just going to fully go away, I can definitely get over on him in larger field stuff. Both Atlanta tight ends, I think, are in play. Jonnu Smith at 2.9, Kyle Pitts at 4K. Chigo Okonkwo, I will not be playing. And I like Tucker Kraft at 3.7 too. I think he's interesting.
Laporta wears 87. That's what I was thinking of. But
Laporta's not god, dude.
Anybody who wears the Gronk number, I look at. I look at them closely. Like this guy's gotta have it.
He definitely has it. And they blitz when they blitz, and they're going to blitz a ton. Minnesota, he's going to be the first read ahead of Amon-Ra. That's how it's kind of gone through the first 16 weeks.
So regarding Njoku, at the bottom of Scott Barrett's tweet, that was McBride. He talked about Njoku, how since week 7, 9 targets per game, 23% target share, 16.9 expected fantasy points per game, which would be the tight end 1 from that time. I mean, we've seen him break slates. He obviously has Flacco's out there slinging it, so he's got massive target upside. He got 14 targets against the Bears, and the Texans are top 3 in fantasy point, or third worst fantasy points allowed to tight end. So this is a good matchup too. So I think those. Other than that, I don't have any super cheapy or anything. 2,700 or some big guy. Let me see if I can dig something up. Is anything? No, I think that's good. I think we nailed the tight end pool. All right. Which one of you, holiday season, who's got the defensive, who wants to steal the defensive segment here?
Jets, Jets.
Yeah, I'm on the Jets too. Jets are the defense. 3,100.
Chalky Jets?
Chalky
no
Jets.
Big deal. No big deal.
No.
So I'll give another one that I think is quite interesting. I like the Vikings at 2.5 versus Jared Goff. I know I wrote up Jared Goff, but as I dug in, Jared Goff, he might be in some trouble this week. So the Vikings at 2.5, I like a little bit.
Yeah, anybody that brings pressure could essentially get to him. So I like that. What about a cheapie? You got to find a cheapie here.
They're 2.5. That's a cheapie, right?
There you go. Yeah.
I got to find another cheapie here.
Pair the Panthers with Chuba.
Panthers with Chuba. That's one for sure.
Yeah.
Green Bay doesn't have anybody.
I think they're min price over on Yahoo too. And Washington D is going to be chalk on Yahoo. They're just close to min price. Maybe I'll play Carolina instead. Yeah, I don't really have a DraftKings cheapie besides the Viking play that Bobby said. All right, stack time. I'm going to start it off so I can steal the low-hanging fruit here, and I don't have to get too crazy. And I'm going to give my Justin Fields to DJ Moore. Stack right off the bat. I might double
bring
it
it back with McBride.
I mean, can it get much chalkier?
Yeah, that was going to be my stack too.
But yeah, I'm on board with that. other than that, oh, my other one is that I've already convinced myself now on the show is I'm going to do a double with Trevor Lawrence, and hopefully that they just pick them apart through the passing game, which is what you should do against Jacksonville. So against Tampa Bay. So give me Lawrence, Ridley, Ingram, and then run it back with either Mike Evans or Rashad White. And those are my two. No doubt.
Yep, Fields, Moore, McBride, my favorite stack on the board. It will be chalky. And then for large field stuff, I like Flacco to Amari Cooper. And I'll only bring it back if Nico ends up being out. If he is, I'll play some Noah Brown with that stack.
Yeah, I like both of those. Fields was definitely my favorite small field. I'm going to go with Trevor Siemian, Garrett Wilson. No one's going to pick it. Didn't want to pick everything that everyone else said. Think it's going to be different. I think for larger field stuff, it's not the worst stack you could do on the slate, or it could be.
Yeah, that's the point of GPPs, though, right?
That's the point. Either first or last, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Is that a wrap? Nice, quick little pot. We're 10 minutes early this week. Sounds nice. Give us a little more time to prepare for the festivities. What are we eating on Christmas, boys?
Seafood and ham on Christmas Day.
Yeah, I'm going to be traveling around all the different families. I'm not cooking anything, so whatever everyone else is cooking, that's what I'll do.
How do you like doing that? Is that tough doing to get to go all around? And
I prefer that over hosting myself. I hosted Thanksgiving, and that was just a mess. But yeah, I like it. I mean, all my family lives pretty close together.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, both you guys have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We'll be back before New Year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no need to do New Year's, but thank you to the listeners. Hope you have a Merry Christmas. Hope you have a happy holiday. Hope you take part in a lot of these slates that are going to be going on. There's going to be a lot of action, a lot of missing family members in front of the TV sweating football and basketball when we're supposed to be doing something else. But that's the way to do it. Any final words for the people? No.
Enjoy the day, enjoy Christmas. But yeah, I mean, the kids get their presents, we get sports. You know, everybody gets a little bit of something. Somebody win a GPP and tag us in the tweet, huh?
You know what I'm going to pull up while Bobby gives his final words? I'm going to pull up what I bet.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, guys. Hope Santa brings you some good stuff. Hopefully a GPP win. And like Noah said, if you get it, we helped you out. Shoot us a tag and a tweet.
All right, here's the Wongs for anyone who wants to do a Wong tease along with me. This is Saturday, so it's actually out of Wong, but still I have the Steelers +9 with everybody. Literally everybody. I have them with the Bills teased. I have them with the Colts teased. I have them with the Jags. I have them with the Cowboys. So, and I do like the Denver Broncos against the Pats to tease. So those are my plays. And I got Wongs all those games every which way. So I'm hoping the points come in handy for me this week. But all right, this has been the RG DFS Tournament Takes podcast, week 16, holiday edition. We will be back next week. Thank you for listening.